Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sal. Today we're going to cover this weekend Saturday slate. It's a 5-game slate, so there's 6 games total today. There's a noon game, so nice basketball early in the day if you're looking for that, the showdown slate. But I'm going to be covering the 5-game slate. I'll talk about the noon slate just in terms of injuries. But if this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. So this is the thing. On Saturdays, we get a ton of more viewership. Makes sense, right? Nobody's really working. They have a lot more time to play DFS. Maybe people are just bored and want to play DFS. There's a lot more casual players. People just discovering me like you. My whole goal here is if you're new here, first timer here on Saturday, is to just kind of show you the ropes and to really give you a better or an increased mindset as to what DFS NBA is all about, especially for this specific slate. Give you the numbers, give you all the information at 7 in the morning when I'm shooting this that I can. You can reach out to me on Twitter. You can jump into Discord, which I'll talk about. It's a group texting app throughout the day. Really just give you the tools. And then if you're a returning subscriber, you know how much you mean to me. You know how much that we've just been doing this for a couple months now, and we've had incredible growth, and we're just learning together in the Discord every single night, giving each other tidbits, people taking down, not any big tournaments yet, but we have people taking down tournaments, and it's just been exciting. People just placing high. So it's awesome. It's a community that's growing and growing pretty rapidly, so I hope that new people can join it. Hit me with a thumbs up whether you're new here or not. If you're excited for this video, hit me with a thumbs up. Comment down below. So I want to start doing this question of the day type stuff. Comment down below. What is one thing you would like to see me add to these videos? Whether it's a piece of data. I'm not going to give out the player projections unless you're paying, so that's one thing that's off the table. But if it's a piece of data, if it's just another type of team stat, let me know down below. What is one thing that you want to see me add? A small thing, a big thing, whatever it is. I want to add a segment maybe here and there. Just comment that down below. So thank you so much. If at any point during this video you do enjoy it, consider subscribing if you're new. I will quickly go through a very quick laundry list of things. So the first thing is just Patreon. This is where my player projections are for the NBA. People have been utilizing them. We're at about, you can see right here, 39 Patreons. And basically, like I've been saying, this money is just going to get put towards my monthly student loan payment once I'm out of college in a few months. And as of right now, getting put towards it to just pay down that big principal, pay down that big interest that is student debt, a bear that is holding me back from what I'm doing right now, making it my career. Yes, there is good money in what I'm doing, but not enough money to tackle 84 grand in student debt payments while also paying for living expenses and whatnot. So this is just something that I started. It's very cheap for these projections in terms of what the market rate is. And by very cheap, I mean a fraction of the cost, maybe 20% compared to competitors. So definitely check it out if that's something you're interested in. I'm always open for suggestions, and if there's anything wrong with the projections that you don't really like, get a refund. It's all good. Draft dashboard is something that I'm going to talk about a little later on. So just keep that in mind after the injuries. But then the Discord is something that I really want to hit on. So this is just where our community is growing. Since yesterday, we have like another 15 people in here. So welcome to the new people. Make sure you reach out to me. You can reach out to me one-on-one in here. The NBA chat's the thing that's just popping right now. MLB is getting a couple. It's like some whiskers are getting thrown around, whispers as the MLB comes around. The NFL is a sleeping giant that will just be something incredible once that season comes. But yeah, the NBA and the golf chats right now, NASCAR sometimes, and then the player props are really where all the talk's going. And you can get the projections right in here if you're a Patreon. So, with all that out of the way, let's hop into it, gang. I haven't been streaming on Twitch because I'm on vacation. This is Saturday morning. I'm traveling back from Raleigh. I love this place. My girlfriend loved this place. Potential spot to live, #1 as of right now. And yeah, I'm going to be traveling back 7 hours back to Penn State. So starting tomorrow, I will be up and most likely streaming in the early morning. And I'll keep you guys up on that. So hit me up on Twitter to just know that. I'll kind of link it in my profile. So, injury news to start, and we got it in alphabetical order for you guys outside of LeBron. So let me just filter this again. I added LeBron late. He's not injured, so don't worry about that, but there was a status change. So this is injury news and status changes. So let's go column B here, and now we're sorted by team. So we're going to start with the Atlanta Hawks. Dwayne Dedmon, he went from being questionable, uncertain for today, early in the day yesterday, to now he's doubtful. Doubtful with a knee injury. So if he's out, once again, Alex Len should see the start at center. A guy who can either go for 40 plus or can go for 15, just depending on the day, depending on foul trouble. John Collins, though, is another guy who's going to see a big benefit, as there's really no other rebounding guys out there outside of Collins and Len. Alex Potheroy, so whatever his name is, he was injured. He's out. I believe Amari Spellman is out. This is actually something that's popping to my head right now. Yeah, Amari Spellman was supposed to miss a few games. Will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. He's out a while. There's really no power forwards, and I mean, you could look at it based on the depth for this Atlanta Hawks on Draftkings. For power forwards, it's Vince Carter right now that's available, and John Collins. And then for centers, it's literally Vince Carter, John Collins. They signed Tyler Zeller. That's how desperate they are. I don't expect him, if he does play, to play any significant minutes today. So yeah, you're working within this Atlanta Hawks bigs. It's literally today John Collins, Vince Carter to an extent, and Alex Collins. Or Alex Len. And they're going up against Brooklyn, which is just the mother load, the jackpot for Big Ben, right? So I don't really like playing Alex Len at a price of $5,000, and we'll get to this, but it becomes intriguing when he's going up against Brooklyn. Maybe not too intriguing. I think I'd rather lean towards John Collins, the guy I feel better about, the guy who overall his production, his floor, his ceiling is higher against an incredible matchup. I'd rather take my chances there. For Brooklyn, Treveon Graham is out, and Shabazz Napier, guys who are secondary players, although Graham had been drawing starts, are out. In terms of who it's going to affect for Napier, I imagine this means against a poor Atlanta Hawks team against the guard position, it's going to increase just maybe more of a minutes floor for Karis LeVert, the guy who has been starting at that small forward position, maybe even Joe Harris at the shooting guard position where we see Napier getting some time. Potentially gives D'Angelo Russell some more time out there. Really, all the guards are who I put, and including DeMarre Carroll. Kyrie Irving is back and probable, although who knows, maybe he'll get ruled out with something. But this is going to affect everyone. And I just put everyone because that's what it'll affect. Al Horford sees a big bump when Kyrie's off. Obviously, you're going to get Terry Rozier. His direct replacement is now going to go back to his secondary role and become irrelevant. A lot of guys, Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown, the entire team. That's why I put everybody. Kyle Kuzma is questionable. Brandon Ingram is questionable. Lance Stevenson is questionable. So we have a lot of Laker news here. So we'll start with Kuzma and Ingram. Both of these guys are questionable. Look, if one's in and the other one's out, I prefer the other one. So if Kuzma's out but Ingram's in, I greatly prefer Ingram. And there's a few reasons why. One, because Kuzma's a high-scoring player on this team. And two is because the reason we're about to get to. Tyson Chandler being out is not that reason, but it will affect JaVale McGee, especially if Kuzma is out, who has been seeing minutes at the 5 and been seeing starts at the 5. JaVale McGee becomes the only really viable starter. You will have Moritz Wagner, should see maybe 15 minutes, but it's going to be JaVale McGee seeing mids to upper 20s in minutes, which is somewhere he hasn't been in a while. And now LeBron James. So if you haven't been seeing this, LeBron James will now be on a 28 to 32 minutes limit. This is very significant, especially because his price today doesn't take that into account. At $10,800, if you're playing LeBron James today and he's seriously on a 30-minute limit, you're burning all of your money today. Do not play LeBron James today at $10,800 if he's on a 28 to 32 minutes, because he's priced at, I would say, his 37 to 39-minute role. Look, if you're not getting an extra 7 to potentially 11, 10 minutes out of LeBron James, and you're paying that much, it's just dust. You're burning all of your money. It's buns. Those extra 7 to 8 minutes are huge. We already know minutes are huge in basketball. For LeBron James, those are an extra 12 to 18 fantasy points that you're just throwing away. So yeah, LeBron James. The reason that I like Kyle Kuzma and Ingram, and I like both of them, but if one is out and the other starts, is because there's 8 more minutes of LeBron not going to be there. Maybe even potentially 12 more minutes of LeBron not going to be there. Whereas these guys, and then there's not going to be all the other minutes of Kuzma if he's out and Ingram is in. So if you follow that, I like Brandon Ingram a lot if we get news that Kuzma is out. I like Kyle Kuzma a lot if we get news that Ingram is out. If they're both in, I think they're both decent plays. I probably lean a little bit more towards Kuzma, who's cheaper, but I think they're both good plays, and also probably going to be starting at the 4 or the 5. So that was a lot. Let's go over to Milwaukee, where it's just George Hill who's out today. It's going to affect Malcolm Brogdon, the guy who starts at the 2, but he'll get more minutes at the 1. And that's pretty much it, I would say. Isaiah Cannon doesn't see a big bump. Actually, Isaiah Cannon, I'm pretty sure, got dropped from this team. So mainly Malcolm Brogdon. For Minnesota, a couple injuries, nothing notable. Robert Covington, he's been out. He will remain out, but it's at least encouraging to see now that they're actually actively reporting his situation instead of just saying 4 weeks from now. So he seems more of a day-to-day, or maybe coming in the next week or so, he'll be playing. TJ Warren, they said he's going to miss at least 2 more games, so he seems like he's getting a little bit closer. He's been out over a month. It's going to affect the same guys, mainly Kelly Oubre, who's been seeing a big bump, including in his price now up to the low 6K range, where we've been used to him being around the mid 5K range. Dragon Bender, his effect is because he's been getting starts at the 4 when Josh Jackson goes to the bench. And then they put Oubre at the 2, they put Bridges at the 2, Oubre at the 3, whichever, vice versa. Evan Turner is questionable. It's going to affect Mo Harkless, who's been seeing mid-20s minutes. It's going to affect Rodney Hood to an extent, who's been pretty much dust, but the minutes got to go somewhere. And then for the early slate goers, Frank Ntilikina is still out, and Mario Hezonja is going to be questionable today. It's going to affect guys like Noah Vonleh at the 4, mainly the guys at the 4's time, maybe a little bit of the 3 time for the Knicks. So that's it. There's really not a whole lot of news to monitor. I'd mainly say figure out what you're going to be doing in this Atlanta-Brooklyn game, because look, there's a couple of spots here that we like to target, and let me go over to the target offense. But before I do, while I talk about this, I want to actually talk about Draft Dashboard. So Draft Dashboard, like you guys, if you've been watching, or if you're new here, this is actually something very beneficial for you guys to check out based on the value it packs in this offer. So first and foremost, I use it. I have my own projection system, like I've talked about. Quickly cut to that. So this is my player projections. The minutes by no means are in yet. So all these, you'll see points and everything aren't in. For the ones that are in, they're wrong. They're using minutes from yesterday. I haven't updated my minute sheet yet. But these are my projections. You just get a ton and load of information on every single player. You get to see their median projections, which are more so for cash game playing, but you can get an idea for tournaments, and then you get value. So that's something similar to what Draft Dashboard is doing. They do it, and they have it a very nice and neat way for you to see it. They give you their rank, see how good of a play they are today based on things like matchup, based on things like the overall position matchup for them at the point guard position, the overall team matchup, how many minutes that they're going to be playing, their ownership, which comes out a little bit later in the day, their value on the slate, projected points on the slate, all these types of things. So then what you could do there is you can pick, okay, I like certain players, and I'm just picking random ones here. I like these certain players, put them in this watch players list, and then from there you kind of house your player pool. I like to do this on Draft Dashboards. I also do it on some other sites just because it's nice looking at the guys that you're interested in, adding and dropping players as news comes out, so you can kind of get them all in one spot. And then you could even take it a step further. Those players that you have in your watch players list, if there's more than 8 to build an actual lineup, it'll build a lineup out of your players list. Otherwise, it'll just pick random players and build the best possible lineups based on all of those rankings that you just saw. And then they have an NBA cheat sheet, which just kind of says, it comes out a little bit later in the day. It kind of tells you just what's the best plays at, or nice plays at the higher level, middle level, lower level. They're a provider, so they do all of this for you. So yeah, definitely check out Draft Dashboard. The thing that's cool about Draft Dashboard is they run a promotion, and I think the promotion's up unless you use the link below. I could be totally wrong, but that's just through the emails I was sending to the guy, Chris. It's 30 days for $1, so you could try this out for 30 days for $1 if it helps you in your DFS game. I mean, it's like 3 cents a day. If it helps you in your DFS game, you can continue on with it. If not, and you don't want to do it anymore, then you can end it. So that's up to you. That's Draft Dashboard, 30 days for $1. It's something to check out. Also, I have been told that I can make my own watched players list for you guys to see. So like my own player pool, you guys can see. I don't really feel great about that, to be honest with you guys, because I don't want people just trying to copy what I'm doing, because by no means am I some professional shark out here. I mean, I try a little harder than the average person, but there's really no leverage if I'm putting 40 players in a player pool for you guys. So I might just put the early interests in there and then take them out and replace it with another early interest if something happens early in the day news-wise. So that's an added bonus. If you do this, you will be able to see my early interests in there as well, and potentially a player pool at some point. So let's go back into this target offense sheet. So target offense sheet, the sheet that everybody loves, the sheet that goes up on Twitter after I make it. It goes in the Discord for people as an Excel sheet. If you are a Patreon, it goes along with the projections. So the target offense sheet is here. It is ready to go. I just always like to make sure and double check every single night the pace, because I have this automating. So it's just pulling from a website, and the pace will change daily pretty much. So it keeps the target offense sheet up to date by the day. But you'll see things like this get changed because teams jump each other in pace if they're playing or not. But it all takes is just pretty much going in and making sure everything adds up. So like if teams played last night, they'll jump other teams in pace because they got to play. There's just more availability. There's a bigger sample for them to jump them is pretty much it. So everything else though looks pretty good. The thing that I like the most about this is it's updating every single day. So you guys are getting a more truer picture to this day what the average paces are looking like. So we have it right here. It's filtered right now by pace. It should be. Pretty much is. You'll see just a little bit off. So what you're looking at here is 5 games today on a 6-team slate overall. The early game, like we already mentioned, 5 games on this main slate, and you're looking at a couple different things. So projected pace is just, if you're new here, again, Saturdays, there's a lot of people. So if you're still watching and you haven't subscribed yet, please hit me with a subscribe. I'm literally trying to make this my career. If you've been in the Discord, if you talked with me, you know that I'm going to be way more active in the Discord now that my vacation's over. So I'm sorry that I haven't been, just been trying to enjoy the vacation. But please, the subscriptions help. It lets other businesses notice me for potential ads, which costs you no money at all. It costs them all the money in the world. So you keep getting this free content. I get paid for it. It's a win-win situation for all of us, right? So please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Saturdays, like I said, the busiest day for videos, usually get like 50% more views. So it helps me out a ton if you guys can actually follow me if you are enjoying this. And I hope that you will. So In yellow is the pace, which is possessions per game per team. So the higher the number, the better. It means they're going to have more chances to score, more chances to rebound, block, all these things that I always like to say, but I want to reinforce for the new people. It's just more opportunities to score DraftKings points, especially later in the game when the double-double and the triple-double bonus, just free points pretty much, is on the line. If you get the triple-double, you're getting an extra 4.5 points, right? 5 points with the double-double included in that. Then you have your projected totals. I projected one of these games last night at 227 with this Lakers and Baltimore, Boston game. Let me see if the actual total is out yet. I like to use a couple of websites just to check this. I really like Fantasy Labs Vegas Dashboard, and you guys are going to get to see me go there right now. It's free. You go to NBA Vegas, and you guys can just check out throughout the day line movements. They're still not out here, the total for Fantasy Labs. So I projected it based on how much the teams score on the year, and based on their pace, how much I think that adds to it. But the other ones are all out on Vegas, so this is just the totals for the game. Obviously, the higher totals mean there's more points, which again means more fantasy points to go around. Projected team totals, and then DK points over the last 30 days is just how many DraftKings points have been allowed over the last 30 days to specific positions. So let's break this down a little bit. So when I first look at this, Brooklyn and Atlanta, there's a couple spots that you'd love to target. I mean, Atlanta in general, higher paced team. Makes sense that this is the fastest paced team on the fastest paced game on the slate, because they're one of the fastest paced teams on the slate. They are the fastest paced team on the slate. So when you play Atlanta, you attack the guard position. I don't know how to say this anymore. Tyler Johnson went for 50 points. Derek White went for 50 points. Chris Dunn, a guy you never play, went for mid to high 30s in points at 5K a couple of days ago. Derek White 2 days ago went for 50. Against this Atlanta team, they're just dirt bad. There's more possessions in the game. There's going to get more opportunities for the point guard to get assists. We like the point guards because they get more assists. There's double-double upside. They drive into the lane. They're going to get more fantasy points than usual, especially against a bad team. You can see here, by far the worst team against the point guard is right there. Even the shooting guard position, the guards in general, but I really like going after point guards over shooting guards. You guys know that if you're new here. Shooting guards, for the most part, a lot of them are just catch and shoot. You don't get those peripheral rebounds, assists, double-double of potential like a point guard does with rebounds. Like a point guard runs the transition offense and gets more, especially in a fast-paced game like Atlanta where they're running nonstop, gets more transition assists and buckets and layups, easier shots. So Brooklyn, you want to attack the point guard position, but this is now an interesting team because you're going to be attacking D'Angelo Russell, who's now only priced at 8,100. Price has come down, but Dinwiddie is back. He just went for a monster game, 30 minutes over 40 fantasy points. Karis LeVert is now back and healthy, and now this team starts to become a hosh-posh of guards where, Karis LeVert has been starting at the 3, but he's very much shooting guard eligible. So D'Angelo Russell is a very interesting play. He's going to be one of my players of interest, as you will see on the next page. But it becomes a little bit challenging when there's just a lot of guys who can get it done, whereas on other teams like Derek White is the point guard. Chris Dunn is the point guard. So D'Angelo Russell is the point guard, but there's a lot of other active shooters. But at the same time, active shooters is a terrible word. I'm not going to cut that because I don't want to do any editing. We're not saying that no more. But I guess maybe now I'm talking about it out loud, which is always good, and you guys are getting to see me think out loud. Zach LaVine was on that team, and he's a shooter. We had Devin Booker on the other team for Phoenix when Tyler Johnson went for 50. So I do actually really like D'Angelo Russell. I'm just trying to find ways, and maybe the price is the reason that it's not jumping out as much as those other guys who were just obvious at the 5K range. But D'Angelo Russell's in play. Spencer Dinwiddie, if he ever gets back into the starting lineup, is in play. Karis LeVert's in play. Joe Harris, to an extent, in play. For Atlanta, it's kind of the opposite now. You're going to attack the bigs for Brooklyn, the guys who can't rebound, or the power forward and the center positions. Jared Allen's no great center. They don't even have a power forward on this team that you could really name with any confidence in Brooklyn. So this is why I love John Collins today at 7,200. I think that price is just dirt cheap. I think he's going to end up being one of the better values on the slate. Alex Len, he's 5K. I think he's way too expensive for a guy who you're hoping to get you to 25, 30 points because you don't really feel that. The floor on him is very shaky. The ceiling is there, though, closer to 45, 50, and this is the best matchup for him, so there is interest there, but I prefer Collins between the two of them, and the price indicates that. If you want to go over to Washington, Minnesota has been a little bit weak against defending the guard position, both guard, point guard, and shooting. Thomas Satoransky had a good game last night. Price doesn't come up too much. Bradley Beal's $9,700. Look, Bradley Beal's been phenomenal. 50-point games all the time. Only went for 30-something last night. But $9,700, I'd rather pay a little bit more and get to Karl Anthony Towns. I'd rather pay a little bit more and get to Giannis. Like $9,700 for Bradley Beal is becoming a little bit obnoxious in my opinion, but maybe that's just my biases against shooting guards. Boston against the Lakers. If LeBron will be limited, they're already bad at defending the small forward position. It makes Jason Tatum a little bit more interesting for me at a reasonable price point. Al Horford is also interesting here. His price is now where it's usually the highest at 6,600. You guys know I always bring up old Al. Charlotte against Milwaukee, nothing's really popping out here. I played Kemba last night and was disappointed by only 37 points in my main lineup. Did not get it done there. Really nothing stands out outside of maybe a Cody Zeller at a cheaper price point. Marvin Williams, I wouldn't chase those points. On the other side with Milwaukee against Charlotte, yeah, I do like Giannis. I like Giannis a lot. Charlotte defends that power forward position pretty terribly, to be honest with you. So I like Giannis a lot if I can get there reasonably. And then Phoenix and Portland, look, we don't always cover every single game, so this might be a little bit longer of a video, but I hope this is helping. Let me know down below if it is. Hit the like button for sure. Helps me out. So Phoenix and Portland. So this is another high total. All these games, 225 and above. There's going to be a lot of high-scoring games. 243 for this Minnesota and Washington game. When these teams square off, there's a lot of points. That's absolutely insane. So that's a game that you want to target when there's higher totals by, I don't know, 15 more points than most of the other games. 8 more points than any other game. Phoenix and Portland, I do think Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are interesting plays. My favorite play, though, on the maybe entire slate is Jusuf Nurkic, who got ejected last game, but now he's going up against Phoenix, who's just a nosebleed, dead bottom 3 in the league against the center position, and you're going to get a very good center in Jusuf Nurkic at, I believe, a reduced price. He's on the early interest page, but we can just look right here. I'm just typing in early interest. My water bottle is making weird noises. Let's cut that out of there. $7,000. Man's price doesn't come up. Again, he's had back-to-back incredible matchups. OKC was a very good one. Goes for 44 points and gets ejected. I think he's just a smash play today. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't give out picks or anything like that. I'm just giving you my full-on advice. So let's move over to early interest. So early interest, and I usually put some notes, but I haven't really filled them all the way out. I've already talked about a lot of these. I might have hit on every single one of these, to be honest with you. John Collins and Alex Len. Look, against Brooklyn, the bigs are players that dominate. Alex Len's price of $5,000 seems a little bit high, but the matchup makes it a little bit easier to digest. But I'd rather prefer Collins there, who should see some 5 minutes since they have no other centers. Maybe Tyler Zeller gets run out there. But anyways, he'll start at the 4. He's healthy now, and I like him a lot. D'Angelo Russell at 8,100 is just an obvious interest of mine against Atlanta. We've already mentioned that buns, like bad players in Tyler Johnson. Derek White, decent player, but still, guys who don't usually go off have their ceiling games in the 50s against this team. If D'Angelo Russell gets 50, you take that at $8,000, but this is a very possible 60 spot for him. Makes it a little bit harder now that Dinwiddie is back and LeVert. LeVert's also an interest of mine, and you could also put Dinwiddie on this list, all these guys, but D'Angelo Russell is the top guy. JaVale McGee is an interest with Tyson Chandler out. Against Boston is a little bit of a tough matchup, but you're getting a very cheap 4,300 JaVale McGee, who should see with no Chandler out there and a limited LeBron, and potentially if Kuzma is out too. If Kuzma is out, McGee is going to be seeing 25 minutes in this game, something he hasn't seen in a while. At 4,300 for a center, I like that. In a decently high total game. We already mentioned I like Al Horford and Jason Tatum. Giannis, I do like. He is by far the most expensive on the slate. But look, he's in a great spot here, and he's expensive for a reason. Jusuf Nurkic, probably my favorite play on the slate as of right now, based on matchup, based on price, based on his position being a center. If you're new here, I love playing centers. Any guys who are power forwards but play the center position most of the time, like an Al Horford, they're just great plays automatically because they're probably priced a little bit lower, but on Draftkings, you can get more centers in your lineup. You can get up to 4, the power forward spot, the forward spot, the center spot, and the utility spot. Sometimes even 5 if a guy like Kyle Kuzma plays the center position on a night and he goes into the small forward position. It's just the nuts at that point. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Centers get easier. Rebounds, they get easier. Putback opportunities, blocks, double-double upside, closer to the rim rebounds. It's just, or rebounds and steals and whatever it might be. They just get more opportunities for points because everything kind of runs through them. On the defensive side and on the offensive side, when it goes through them, it's just easy buckets. Karl-Anthony Towns, didn't really talk about him, but this 243 total against Washington, who's also a poor rebounding team, that has to be interesting, right? And on the flip side, I'll jump down to Bobby Portis, the guy who'll be defending him, should be staying in the game a little bit longer. I'd say around 28 minutes today. Haven't done the minutes projections yet, but at 5,700 for Bobby Portis, have to like that as well. But Karl-Anthony Towns at 10-4 in this high total game, I love it. Jeff Teague at 5,800 is still a little bit too cheap as well. Rondo at 6,700. His price is coming up now, but if there's no LeBron for an extra 8 minutes to 10 minutes a game, that's probably going to increase a good amount of Rajon Rondo's assist percentage, which increases his opportunities for double-doubles and also triple-doubles. 6,700, he's probably appropriately priced now, but if he's going to be playing 36 to 38 minutes, I think he's still a fine play. Kent Bazemore, with all these guys being injured out there, is seeing extended minutes. Taurean Prince is back from personal issues, so having a kid, actually, nothing bad, having a kid. But Kent Bazemore 5,100 is still in play, especially against Brooklyn, especially if he sees minutes at the 4, which I don't envision that, but it is possible since they have thin depth there. That's it, guys. I got to put this video up and edit it, and then I got to get on the road with the girlfriend, but thank you so much. I quickly do want to shout out once again, this is Patreon. If you do want to support me, and then you'll also get the projections, you can do that over on Patreon. There's a link down below. Let me know down below in the comments if you're still watching. What is one thing you would like to see me add to these videos? There's a lot of you that are going to be watching today. If you watched all the way through and you're just commenting right now, or even if you're going to comment again, let me know you watch all the way through so I can thank you personally. Check out Draft Dashboard. Check out their lineup optimizer, their position optimizer. It's only 30 days for $1, so I personally use it. I can personally recommend it because of that. I think there's a lot of value in paying 3 cents a day for a product and trying it out for a month, especially if you want to increase your game or just stabilize it. And if you're not right now, get into these chats. Get into this Discord. There's 250 people in here. Don't worry, it's not nonstop. Your phone's blowing up. People talk a lot, but you can put these things on silent, whatever you need to do. Check it when only you want to check. But the community's growing, and I kind of like this little hangout group we have here with the guys and the girls. So definitely check that out. Yeah, my name is Sal. You already know that. 5-game slate, fun slate. Peace out, gang. Peace, peace, peace.